Good day, everyone. You're welcome to Link Academy. Today, we want to looking into an aspect called link mechanism. The questions and the figure goes below, as you can see in the right corner of the screen. The crank rotates clockwise about O. That is, that crank you're seeing, that circular figure you're seeing, is rotating what in a clockwise direction. The link AB is attached to a rod CB. As you can see, that link AB is attached to what? Rod CB. That's the rod CB, as you can see at the right corner of the screen. With what? With sprinkling about C. That is, the rod is attached to what? CB, which is what? Sprinkling about what? C. It simply means going up and down about C. Now you are asked, construct the locus of P. So point P, we are told to construct the locus of point P. Now, if OA is what? 45 centimeter, AB is 180 centimeter, CB is 75 centimeter, and BP is 90 centimeter. Scale 1 millimeter to 1 centimeter. I explained that scale previously in my class. In that scale, they're telling us that whenever you see 1 centimeter, we assume is what? 1 millimeter. So for instance, our OA is 45 centimeter. Now, what I need mostly in this question is what? My figure, as you can see in the right corner of the screen. You draw what? A horizontal line first. That's the first thing to draw. So if I take it this way, I draw an horizontal line down this way. This is here. So from this point, let's make a center point. Let's use the center point. If I place my T-square this way, I'll what? Project the line, front line upward. And this is what I'm doing. Now let's stop. What I will do now, I'll show you what I'm doing very well. As you can see, this point here is that point you are seeing at the right corner of the screen. From this point here, the distance of what? Distance of 180. So I'll take my meter rule this way. Now measure 180. 180 is 40. As you can see, because this one starts at 0. So to this point here is 180. I'll take in the point this way. Let's stop. At this point here, my crank was developed. As you can see at the right corner of the screen, the crank was developed at that point. That is what? OA. As you can see, that crank is showing what? OA. And my measurement for OA is what? From the question, I'm having OA to be what? 45 centimeter, also known as what? 45 millimeter, because we're told to take a scale of 1 millimeter to 1 centimeter. So now I'll measure what? 45. From this point here to this point is my 45. Then I'll place it at this center point here. I'll draw my circle this way. Please draw my circle. Let me show you. This is my circle. As you can see, I have drawn my crank what? OA. So don't forget, this point is my point what? My point O. So for me to make this as have a reasonable center point, I what? Take my T-square this way. I'll draw a long one, a short one, long one, short one, long one, short one, long one, short one, long one, short one, long one. As you can see, then this center point, I'll place my T-square on it this way. Then I'll what? Draw what? A long one, short one, long one, short one, long one, short one, long one. So similarly, short one, long one, short one. So you do it straight down, long one. So you'll be having this. It simply means you have what? Produced a reasonable center point. Now I will divide this circle into 12 equal parts. How do I go about that? I will take my compass this way, measure distance from this point to this point. As you can see, I'll strike an arc here. Can you see? I'll come to this point here, strike an arc. Same with the same radius. With the same radius again, at this point here, strike an arc here and strike an arc here. Our aim is to divide the circle into 12 equal parts. Next up, I will what? Connect those lines, this arc and the center point to where they meet. That is something like this. Some center point this way. As you can see, come to this point too. This way. As you can see, from this point. As you can see, lastly from this point. This way. So I have what? Successfully what? Divide this circle into 12 equal parts. Next up, what do you observe? As you can see in the question that either from here or here, my A falls somewhere. That is, my A starts from what? When you pick this point, my point A. This is my point what? My point A. So this point I'll pick for my point A. Either you pick this or this, any one of a choice, you still get the same answer. So I wish to pick this for my point A. I would now what? I will take in that point I wish to pick for my point A. This point, you're taking it this way. As you can see. Next up, since they told us that our crank is moving in what? In a clockwise direction. That is, it's moving in what? Clockwise direction. You indicate it. It is moving what? In a clockwise direction. So we are what? Taking our reading this way. But if it's moving in an anti-clockwise direction, we're taking our reading this way. So now A will be what? A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8, A9, A10 and A11. So I have what? Produced out my crank. In the question, this point here, as you are seeing that point, upward is what? 105, that is 10.5. So if I place my t-square and my set-square this way, 10.5 will fall at this. From here to here is my what? 10.5. So at that point is my point T, but there's a what? There's a vertical line cutting through. So I'll take my t-square this way to my point T, where it cuts through. Coming. So take your t-square this way to my point T. So where it cuts through point C, you draw a thick line, a long line, short line, long line, short line, long line, short line. Similarly, take it from here, short line, long line. And having this. So don't forget this point is my what? My point C. My point T. At this point C, what did you observe from the parameter given? They say our what? Our CB is what? 75. If I'm not mistaken. Our CB is what? CB is 75. That is from this C. So if I want to locate B, I will draw an arc. As you can see the arc. This arc you are seeing at the corner of the screen. You will help us locate B. And the distance from A and AB is what? 75. I will measure my 75 from this point here to this point. 75. This is my 75. Then I'll place it at this center point here. As you can see, the center point here. And I will strike an arc this way. I'll strike an arc this way. So this arc I've striked will help us locate my what? My point. Help us locate my point B. So next up, what I will do now, this is my arc of point B. But what do you observe? They said distance from AB, that is this A to that same B we want to locate here is what? They said is what? Is 180. So either I measure a fresh 180 from this, or I take my normal readings, because from here to here is 180. So I just take my pin of compass this way. I will extend it to my point O, to this point O. From here to my point O is 180, as you can see that now. So similarly, this is the word measure of 180. You place at point A this way. As you can see, you cut an arc at point B. So where they cut is my what? They cut at this point. Let me show you. They have cut at this point. So that point here. So you connect that line to this with a thick line. So connecting it like this from here to this point C with a thick line. So this shows my what? My point B. So I have successfully locate CB and what? OA. Now it remains something which lies. So before I move to that, I will connect what? A and B together with a thick line this way. A and B together, as you can see, and B. See that? This way. Now as you can see, I have successfully connect point B to my point A. Let me show you my point A. So at this point BA, I mean this straight line here, there is a point P located, as you can see at the right corner of the screen. And they said our distance from what? BP, my BP is 90, that is from B to somewhere here is 90. I'll take my meter rule and measure out my point 90 this way. From this point here to somewhere here is 90, as you can see. So here is my point P. So now I successfully locate all those points, as you can see at the right corner of the screen. Now next up, we want to draw the locus of point P. How do we go about that? With the same, as you can see, with the same radius of 180, as you can see, that we did earlier. It places at point A1. As you can see, my point A1. No, what we did earlier is point A. We strike an arc to equate to point B and P1 and P. So similarly, we take it to point A1, strike an arc. Where the arc cut through is my point B1. This is my point B1. Let me show you. B1. This point here is my point B1 on this arc here. So similarly, I will connect B1 to A1, because I connected A1 to A1 and B1 together. So similarly, I connect B1 and A1 together. So take my meter rule, connect A1 and B1 together with a faint line, not a thick line, with a faint line. So similarly, I will measure from that B1. I will measure the same 90 as I did here. I'll measure 90 from this point here to this point is my 90. So here P1. So every point you are reaching, we will locate that point B1. For instance, now this is my point 2 now. For this point 2, this is my point 2. I'm going to locate B2 and B2. So let's do that with the same radius of 180 at this A2. My A2 here, strike an arc somewhere. My arc is meeting up at this point. Up at this point. So where it touches that point here is my B2. I will connect my B2 to my A2 this way with a faint line. So connecting it this way, we'll be having this. So similarly, just take it from this point here. You measure measure out your the 90. This is my point 90 is touching here. So here my P2. As you can see what I'm doing. Next up, I will put it at my point A3. This is my point A3. So you can see my point A3. So with the same 180, and you strike an arc up again. So where it touches point, the arc is touching somewhere up here. So you can see. So this will make this my B3. So you connect B3 to A3. B3 to A3, you'll be having this with a faint line. Then you measure 10. 90, sorry, 90 rather. This is 90. This is my point 90. I have my P3. Similarly, I'll take it. I'll join my point. Sorry, I will locate a point B4. So by putting my compass here and strike an arc again. That's how the arc is touching. So arc is touching here. My B4. So connect B4 to to A4. B4 to A4 with a faint line this way, and measure out the same 90 again for somewhere here. So my P4. So next up, what I will do now is take my compass again, same procedure. A5, you strike an arc somewhere, arc is touching here. As you can see, you call this point to your B5. Connect B5 to A5. B5 to A5. So you can see this way. A5 with a faint line, and then you measure your 10, your 90 rather, 90 at this point here, my point 90 here, P5. Similarly, I will take it again, same procedure, at my point A6. As you can see, my A6 used to cut somewhere here. It is cutting at this point. I call it B6. So connect B6 and A6 together this way. I will with a faint line. I'll be having this with a faint line. So similarly, you measure from that faint line I've drawn. You measure measure out 90, and 90 falls here. This is not 10, it's 90. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 90. So my point P6 falls here. So let me just show you what I'll be doing. Similarly, if I come to my point A7, I will take it where I took it for the other ones. I'll strike an arc A7 with the same A7, I mean A7. This is my A7, alright. You take it, you used to cut an arc. It's cutting somewhere here at this point here. So I'll call that point B7. So I'll connect B7 to A7. B7 to A7 with a faint line. With a faint line this way. So B7 is connected to A7. I'll measure out 9. My point 9. P9. Sorry, P7. I'm sorry, P7 is point 7. So next up, I'll take it the same way I did it at A8. So strike an arc somewhere. The arc is touching here. I will call this my point, B8. I'll connect B8 to A8 this way, the faint line, and then measure my 90 on this again. So touching this point here, so my P8. Similarly, I'll come to my point P9. Let me show you all what I'm doing. Similarly, I will come to my point P9. I'll show you my point P9 with the same radius of 108. P9. So strike an arc somewhere at this point. So as you can see, it's touching somewhere here. You can observe very closely. It's touching somewhere here. So I'll call my B9. I'll connect B9 to A9 together. B9 and A9 with a faint line. Then I'll measure 90 out of it. So this is my point 90. I call this my P 8, 9, P9. I call my point P9. Taking those points. So to not get you confused, taking them very well so you see them when you want to use them. Yeah, yes, next up it's meant P 10 and 11. So I'll do that simultaneously. At my point A10, I'll strike an arc on that arc here that I've drawn earlier. I'll call this my point B10. I'll connect B10 to A10 this way with a faint line. Then I'll measure a fresh 90. This is my fresh 90. This point here is my point 90. So P10 is connected at this point. So P9 and P10 are connected together this way. So as you can see, don't get confused. Next up, A11. I'll come to my A11 this way. I'll strike an arc. It's cutting through at this point. So this is my B11. I'll connect B11 and A11 together with a faint line to this point. So I'll measure a fresh A fresh 90. This is my fresh 90 here. So yes, P11. So we have successfully draw the locus of point P. Now let's these are our locus at point P using our French curve to join all this line together, all these points together. So doing that, I'll be having something of this nature if I use my French curve. So at least I'll join join this. Let's see, coming. I join this way, coming, let's start from joining this together. If I join these points together, this point here together, so you can see. So similarly, come to this point here. Take it to point A this way. So you can see, coming to this point here. Let's see. I'll take it this way. Let's see. I'll use my hand to join this here to this. So I can just use my French curve. So join this point here. Join this one here. As you can see. So then join this. So join this to this. Join this to this. As you can see, and join this to this. So and then join here to this point here. This point here to this point. So I have started drawn my locus at point At point P. So if you found this video helpful, kindly click on the subscription button and like. Thank you. Welcome to Finalizing Academy.